In the simmering waters of the Caribbean, a new threat emerges. Venezuela has deployed Iranian-built Zolfaghar Class fast missile boats, armed with anti-ship missiles, challenging U.S. naval dominance. The stakes? A region already tense, now potentially explosive. What does this mean for Washington, for international law, and for balance of power at sea? The tension escalated dramatically after a U.S. drone strike in the Caribbean allegedly killed 11 people aboard a Venezuelan drug trafficking vessel. The incident shocked observers, raising questions about U.S. military reach and Venezuela's vulnerability. In a response, Caracas intensified its naval modernization program, moving rapidly to strengthen its maritime defenses. Among the acquisitions was a fleet of at least 5 Zolfaghar Class high-speed missile patrol craft, also known as PACOP-3, purchased from Iran. These vessels, though small, carry significant firepower and are designed for speed and stealth, an unmistakable message to Washington that Venezuela intends to fight asymmetry with innovation. To understand why this matters, one must consider the backdrop of decades-long friction between the United States and Venezuela. Since the early 2000s, Caracas has been a frequent target of sanctions, accused of corruption, narcotics trafficking, and human rights violations. Washington has supported opposition groups while Venezuelan leadership accused the U.S. of imperialism and interference. As Venezuela's economy collapsed under hyperinflation, U.S. embargoes deepened its isolation. In desperation, Caracas turned to Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran for economic and military support. Iran, in particular, has seen Venezuela as a crucial ally in challenging U.S. influence in the Western Hemisphere, creating a strategic partnership that extends beyond trade into weapons development and military training. The Caribbean, long considered a U.S. backyard, is no longer the uncontested maritime domain it once was. Regional instability, arms deals, and shifting alliances have turned these tropical waters into a geopolitical chessboard. From Cuba's historic role in the Cold War to ongoing territorial disputes between Venezuela and Guyana over oil-rich waters, the region has become a potential flashpoint. The deployment of Iranian-built missile boats in Venezuela is more than symbolic. It signals a future where even smaller nations can complicate U.S. naval strategy through inexpensive yet powerful asymmetric weapons. The Zolfaghar Class, or PACOP-3, is a high-speed missile patrol craft designed and manufactured by Iran's Marine Industries Organization. Though small, it is fast and lethal. Measuring 17.3 meters in length and displacing around 14 tons, the boat's minimal crew of 3 allows for rapid deployment and low logistical overhead. Its top speed of 52 knots, approximately 96 kilometers per hour, makes it ideal for high-speed coastal strikes and evasive maneuvers. Armament includes 2 container-launched CM-90 Nasr anti-ship missiles and Iranian-licensed copy of the C-704 missile. These missiles, with a range of about 90 kilometers, give even a small vessel the ability to threaten larger warships. A 12.7mm heavy machine gun mounted on the bow provides close-range defense. The radar system, though simple, allows detection of vessels at 50 kilometers, providing enough warning to execute ambush tactics. These boats are built for asymmetric warfare, quick coastal ambushes, surprise missile strikes, and shoot-and-scoot operations that rely on speed rather than armor. They're unsuited for direct confrontation with destroyers or cruisers, but in shallow coastal waters, their size and agility make them a formidable challenge for larger vessels that struggle to maneuver in tight areas. Venezuela's decision to acquire these boats demonstrates a clear strategic vision. If it cannot match the U.S. Navy ship for ship, it will seek to disrupt and harass rather than dominate. By investing in relatively low-cost vessels that can launch precision missiles, Venezuela creates uncertainty for American commanders operating in the Caribbean. These boats could be stationed near vital oil installations, patrol disputed waters, or even serve as deterrents against covert operations. However, the limitations are obvious. These vessels lack endurance for long patrols, are vulnerable to aerial attacks, and are ineffective in rough seas. Their reliance on coastal geography means they're a defensive tool rather than a global power projection weapon. Yet their presence alters the strategic calculus. A single missile strike from one of these boats could escalate tensions dramatically. This move also reflects Iran's growing reach. Tehran has long used its domestic arms industry to bypass sanctions and build influence abroad. By exporting fast attack craft like the Zolfaghar Class, Iran extends its military doctrine to Latin America, providing Caracas with weapons designed for exactly the kind of asymmetric naval warfare Iran practices in the Persian Gulf. Iran's Roti Guard Navy has repeatedly demonstrated how small missile boats can swarm larger American vessels, and now those tactics could be mirrored thousands of miles away in the Caribbean. For Washington, this is more than a regional irritation. It's a reminder that the Western Hemisphere is no longer immune to outside influence. Russia's presence in Venezuela through bomber deployments and oil partnerships already drew attention. China's investment in infrastructure and ports raised alarms. Now Iran's export of advanced missile systems shows a coordinated effort by U.S. rivals to establish footholds close to American shores. The challenge for U.S. strategists is how to respond without triggering an escalation spiral. Increased naval patrols and intelligence surveillance will likely follow. The U.S. Coast Guard, Navy, and Southern Command could deploy more assets to monitor Venezuelan waters, and partnerships with Colombia, Guyana, and other neighbors may deepen. Yet every step the U.S. takes risks validating Venezuela's narrative of foreign aggression, strengthening domestic support for Caracas's militarization. NATO allies may also watch closely. While the Caribbean is not NATO's primary theater, instability there can ripple into the Atlantic trade network. Insurance premiums for oil shipping routes could rise, energy markets could be disrupted, and small Caribbean nations may be pressured to pick sides. If Iran's influence in Latin America grows unchecked, it could create new regional blocs resistant to U.S. and European power. Within Latin America, the Zolfaghar deployment could set a precedent. Other countries may see value in investing in fast attack craft, drones, or coastal defense systems rather than expensive destroyers. It's a sign that military power is no longer just about large fleets, but about precision, speed, and adaptability. In a region struggling with drug trafficking, piracy, and territorial disputes, such tactics may spread rapidly. For Venezuela, this is a gamble. It strengthens its deterrence, but risks confrontation. For Iran, it's an opportunity to test its export weapons in a completely different maritime environment. For the United States, it is a wake-up call that threats to its homeland are no longer hypothetical. What we're witnessing is more than just a simple arms sale. It's a redefinition of naval warfare on America's doorstep. The Zolfaghar missile boats won't rewrite history overnight, but they complicate the strategic equation in ways that cannot be ignored. With each vessel deployed, Caracas signals that it will not bow to U.S. pressure, while Iran quietly scores a geopolitical victory. What do you think? Is this a dangerous escalation or a predictable move by a cornered nation? Share your perspective in the comments. If you found this analysis valuable, hit subscribe and ring the bell for more updates on military strategy and global security. Stay sharp.